So I've been working hard to bring this to you over the course of the past several weeks, several months, and it's about to become very, very relevant. The Brock Purdy contract projection. Quick little peek right there. That is the actual work. It is based on some real research. We're going to get to it in a second. It's up on the San Francisco Standard. The $60 million man. There's a question mark at the end there. Running the numbers on Brock Purdy's potential 49ers contract. So let's talk, and let's make sure that you go check this out on the San Francisco Standard so you can follow along while I do this. We've got the projection, not just the projection and the spreadsheet itself, which is right here, but we also delve very deeply into a lot of the statistics, a lot of the history financially, and the 49ers' own salary cap situation. I am not just spitballing here. Let me make that really clear. This is something that is reliant upon a larger financial structure. So when you go to a lot of these projections, and I'm not going to name names of websites, but a lot of them are just tossing numbers out there with no real basis behind the numbers. I've done contract projections for all of these 49ers mega deals, and all of them have ended up being more or less what that contract has ended up being. So I think it's really important to be versed in the terminology here so that you're ready for whenever this contract does happen. So you know what to look for, what is just out there for headline clickbait, and what is actually substantive as it relates to the 49ers and their salary cap situation. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the 49ers. Are they going to play in Berlin? I've got a little bit of a teaser here. I have something cool to show you as well when we get to that part of the discussion. And we're going to talk about the San Francisco Standard, where you can find this article on the Brock Purdy contract extension. So check out the Standard and let's talk about this projection right now. I'm going to open things up by going through the top 5 quarterback contracts in average per year. Now, this is going to be important, but it's going to be important in reasons that I think people get wrong sometimes. The media loves to go by APY, which is average per year. The top 5 deals right now, and the quarterback position is the richest of all positions. So these are the top 5 deals, not just at QB, but in NFL history. Belong to Dak Prescott at $60 million per year, Joe Burrow at $55 million per year, Jordan Love, $55 as well, Trevor Lawrence, $55, and Tua Tagovailoa at $53.1. So remember that. That is APY. APY is a rudimentary look at a contract. If somebody signs a $300 million contract, well, over 5 years, that contract is worth $60 million per year, like Dak Prescott's. It's not taking into account fully guaranteed money, partially guaranteed money, injury guaranteed money, whatever you want to look at as far as the specifics of a contract that actually matter, what protects a player from injury. That is not included in APY. But the media loves APY because it is a simple way to illustrate how much money there is in a contract, even if some of that money is funny money. So on one end of the spectrum, we have APY. On the other end of the evaluation spectrum, we need to look at fully guaranteed money. These are the top contracts in NFL history and in the QB position by fully guaranteed money. So this is the money that a player is going to get essentially no matter what. Even if he gets hurt, I mean, that's injury guaranteed money. But even if he is terrible, Deshaun Watson at the very top is both hurt and terrible. He's going to get all of his $230 million. That was an unprecedented deal. And I think with this list, you can understand how it was unprecedented. Joe Burrow, Trevor Lawrence, Lamar Jackson, and Justin Herbert have all signed deals in the top 5 of fully guaranteed money. And all of them are bunched fairly close to each other, from 133.7 for Justin Herbert to 146.5 million for Joe Burrow, but none of them hold a candle to Deshaun Watson's contract with the Browns. So yes, Cleveland They were out of their minds when they gave Deshaun Watson that outlier contract. Anyway, when we project Brock Purdy's deal, we need to remember that we're going to be looking at it on several scales. The two most important of which, for the media, for agents, for players, for bragging rights, it's going to be APY. That's where Prescott is at the top. And then for the actual practicality of the deal, I look at fully guaranteed money. Now, one reason that fully guaranteed money is more correlated and more tied to a team's actual financial prospects is because of how these deals are structured. And I've got the Brock Purdy proposed structure for you right here. These contracts are structured in a way that signing bonus money, which is fully guaranteed, and guaranteed option bonus money actually stretches out against the salary cap. So this is a mega deal that I proposed for Brock Purdy based on my study of the situation. Look at the salary cap hit, though, in 2025. It's only $15.1 million. Only $23.2 million in 2026. Only $29.3 million in 2007. Long story short, the 49ers can afford these salary cap hits for Brock Purdy, especially in the near term, even with their crowded financial situation. And the way that they're able to do that is by giving him guaranteed money that actually prorates against the cap. Do you see that this accordion structure that I've created with the deal? The signing bonus by NFL rule stretches out over 5 years against the cap. So the NFL record signing bonus is $75 million. The Packers gave it out to Jordan Love. So in my hypothetical contract, I've given Brock Purdy a $70 million signing bonus. Don't worry. He'll be ahead of Jordan Love a little bit later on. Just hold on. You'll see. But the $70 million signing bonus divided by 5 is $14 million of salary cap hits per year. The green right here, that is a guaranteed option bonus that is treated as a signing bonus. The 49ers have used this kind of staggered structure with the contracts of Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, I think Deebo Samuel, and Brandon Ayuk. They've used this option bonus structure to push salary cap hits even further into the future. So 2026 is when a $40 million option bonus hits. 40 divided by 8 is 40 divided by 5 is 8 million. So it's 8 million per year hitting in 2026, 2027, 2028, 2029, and 2030. Finally, a second guaranteed option bonus hits in 2027. That is worth $30 million. So it's staggered, so it doesn't hit in 25 or 26. It keeps those cap hits lower. And that signing bonus is 30 million divided by 5. That's NFL rules. 6 million, 6 million, so on, so forth. You add the horizontal lines to get the cap hit every single season. So this contract, I'm about to do the final math for you guys, for Brock Purdy, is worth $305 million over 5 years. Divide 305 divided by 5, that is $61 million per year. In terms of APY, that would put Brock Purdy at the very top, and this is how quarterback contracts have worked. I write in the article that out of the top 5 in APY, the only quarterback who has had success that rivals Brock Purdy's in the NFL is number 2, Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow has won 5 playoff games. Brock Purdy has won 4 playoff games. The rest of these guys, Dak Prescott, Jordan Love, Trevor Lawrence, and Tua Tagovailoa, have won 4 playoff games combined. So the combined playoff wins of Prescott, Love, Lawrence, and Tagovailoa only equal the amount of playoff wins that Brock Purdy has notched alone with the 49ers. That fact alone, especially after we saw what happened this weekend with guys like Justin Herbert and Jordan Love, who are both high earners in the top 5 of one of the 2 lists that I've shown you, that illustrated that it's not easy to win playoff games in the NFL. It's not easy to perform at QB in the playoffs in the NFL. That alone, and that's not the only data that we have, but that alone puts Brock Purdy into position to reset the quarterback market. On top of that, there is more. Let's look at the fully guaranteed money. So the look here, Joe Burrow is at 2. Lawrence reappears on this list at number 3. Lamar Jackson is at number 4. And Justin Herbert is at number 5. Deshaun Watson's contract with the Browns has turned out to be so bad that it was unprecedented, and it hasn't even yet set precedent. So normally you'll have an unprecedented deal, and that helps spur along the next generation of deals. Deshaun Watson's deal signed in 2022 with Cleveland did not do that. It's going to remain an outlier at $230 million. When we judge Brock Purdy's contract right here, when we look at this, I'm going to give you the fully guaranteed total in just a few seconds. But when we look at the $61 million per year and we compare it to the APY of Dak Prescott, Joe Burrow, Jordan Love, we can say, okay, this market has grown naturally, contract over contract, the most recent of which being Dak Prescott's contract. Purdy is obviously more accomplished than Prescott. He's going to, I think in all likelihood, ask for something a little bit greater than $60 million. The salary cap also increases every year, so that's what we call salary cap inflation. So there should be a gradual rise in contract value in each respective positional market that reflects the percentage rise of the salary cap. And Purdy will sign his deal about a year after Prescott signs his, and I expect the salary cap to grow. But we also have to look at it in terms of how much fully guaranteed money there is in the contract. So $61 million, fine, that's great. You can get the $61 million with funny money. I get that it's important. It's a vanity kind of number. It's important for agents. It's important for players. It might be important for Brock Purdy. I can't say that for a fact, but I do know that the players carry pride and they want to be outwardly valued where they feel that they've earned to be outwardly valued. And Brock Purdy has been the top graded quarterback in the game as far as EPA goes ever since he joined the league. So he's been the most efficient quarterback in the game. Look at the playoff rankings here. This is all in the article. This, I think, is a really good one to look at. This is playoff quarterback EPA since 2018. Minimum of 197 dropbacks. That's how many Purdy has had in the playoffs. He's been the third most efficient quarterback in the postseason, behind only Matthew Stafford and Patrick Mahomes. He's been the most efficient quarterback in the regular season since joining the league. He's won those 4 playoff games. I mean, it is really hard to find a true weakness on Brock Purdy's resume relative to other quarterbacks who have been making big kinds of money. So when you look at APY, it is not shocking at all, and it wouldn't be shocking if Brock Purdy asked for more than $60 million and if the 49ers ended up paying more than $60 million. And it's not that hard to get there, given the fact that a lot of APY is based on money later in the contract that is not even guaranteed. So I want to talk about fully guaranteed money. This is the money. This is the nuts and bolts of a contract. This is the stuff that the media is not going to talk about nearly as much because it gets more complicated. But I do the research, I do the work, and I have to talk about it because this is how Brock Purdy's contract can fit into the 49ers' larger salary structure. So keep this list in mind. Forget about $230 million. Nobody is going to be matching Deshaun Watson's number with the Browns anytime soon. But remember Burrow at $146.5 million, and remember Trevor Lawrence at $142 million of fully guaranteed money. All right, let's go to the deal. Everything that is shaded here in a color is fully guaranteed in my contract proposal. So a $70 million signing bonus plus a $40 million option bonus here in green, plus another $30 million option bonus in teal. That is 70 plus 40 plus 30. That is $140 million. Plus 3 years of veteran minimum base salaries that are guaranteed. Look how the 49ers have lowered these salaries, even the 2025 one, right now Purdy's is like $5 million because of a Pro Bowl boost that he got from last season. But this is the veteran minimum in 2025 for a player of Purdy's service experience, 1.1 million. 2026, the veteran minimum, 1.2 million. 27, the veteran minimum, 1.3 million. Guarantee all that, and that is the 49ers standard operating procedure. That's what they did in Nick Bosa's deal. Obviously, the signing bonus is guaranteed, and toss in 2 guaranteed option bonuses. That is $140 million in blue, green, and teal, plus about $3.6 million here in gold. So that is $143.6 million in fully guaranteed money. Remember that number, 143.6. Where would that fall? A little bit underneath Joe Burrow, right above Trevor Lawrence. I think Purdy is clearly better than Trevor Lawrence, who signed a deal fairly recently. For Joe Burrow, I think that's the one player on this list that has a more impressive postseason resume than Brock Purdy. Lamar Jackson has a more impressive regular season resume. He doesn't have the postseason resume of Brock Purdy yet. Maybe that changes in a couple weeks. But Joe Burrow's won those 5 playoff games. Joe Burrow's been rated near the top of the league in regular season statistics. He's coming off of an awesome season. I think at $146.5 million in fully guaranteed money, Joe Burrow deserves to stand strong near that number 2 spot. Again, Deshaun Watson's an outlier. But I can easily see Brock Purdy coming in at that $143.6 million mark. And I think that's much more relevant to the actual nuts and bolts of the contract than the APY. Now, how is this going to fit within the 49ers salary cap structure? That's the big question that fans normally have, because they're afraid the team won't be able to fit any players after they pay Brock Purdy. Well, I'm glad that you asked, or I'm glad that you're asking, even though I'm not checking. I'm assuming that you're asking. This is the 49ers salary cap report. Those of you who have watched for a while know that I keep track of this meticulously. We were recently on the 2024 salary cap page, and we moved over to the 2025 salary cap page. Any unused space moves over from year to year. So the 49ers have a strategy. They exited 2024 with about $50 million of salary cap space. That carries over to 2025. So I'm projecting a salary cap increasing to $330 million. We'll find out here over the course of the next month or two what exactly the salary cap is going to be. It's going to be tied to league revenues. But at $330 million, I've also added the carryover room that the 49ers have of about $49.68 million or $50 million to their total. So they have an adjusted cap that includes their $50 million 2024 carryover. I have the calculator right here. The 40 players that I currently project to make the 53-man roster who are already under contract, including Brock Purdy's existing cap hit of $5.2 million, leave the 49ers with $59.6 million of 2025 salary cap space. Remember that the contract I projected for Purdy keeps his cap hit at only $15 million in 2025. So in really simple math, they've got about $60 million, and it will only cost them about $15 million to contract Brock Purdy for 2025. So that's 60 minus 15, $45 million left over. The 49ers have consistently rolled over at least $40 million over the past couple seasons to the next season. They've restructured contracts, and the way that you restructure a contract is by doing this, converting base salary into signing bonus and option bonus. Give out the money via signing bonus or option bonus so that you can prorate it so it could stretch out like an accordion over 5 years in the contract. So you can either give out a new deal that has this structure, or you can restructure existing deals already on your roster by limiting the base salary to the league minimum and stretching the converted money out in form of a signing bonus into the future. The 49ers have cleared up salary cap space this way, and they, in doing so, have been able to roll over tremendous amounts of money, the most in the league over the past 2 years, to the next season. Now, a lot of people will say, well, that's like a credit card and the bill's eventually going to come due. Those people don't understand how credit cards or salary cap financing works. That, with a credit card, is usually an interest proposition. If you push the payments back into the future, you're paying interest on the payments. The payments actually cost more in the future. This, however, is the opposite. There is zero interest on salary cap payments if you push them back into the future. So any smart team, and I think the 49ers have done this better than anybody, and if you're willing to pay the money out in signing bonus too. So that takes a little bit of wherewithal from a team. But good financial management in the NFL takes advantage of the zero interest salary cap loan opportunity that the increasing salary cap provides. So as long as the salary cap continues increasing, which it consistently has increased in every single year except for that 2021 season coming off the shutdown in 2020, as long as it keeps on increasing, judicious spending and smart restructures will allow you to indefinitely stay under the salary cap, even if your expenditures are constantly increasing. While I'm talking about money, I think it's a great time to say that this show is sponsored by Rocket Money. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all of the app's premium features. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/gameon today. That's rocketmoney.com/gameon. rocketmoney.com/gameon. What great timing as we're talking about the 49ers saving salary cap money, moving it into the future. So the whole idea that the 49ers cannot fit a Brock Purdy contract worth over $60 million annually into their salary cap while still affording other players, that whole idea is bogus. It comes from people who do not understand the salary cap. It comes from people who have not done the work. I have done the work. I'm showing it to you right here. This is based on contract projections that I've made in the past. This is based on my conversations around the league. And this is what I think the Brock Purdy contract can end up looking like. They can fit it. Now the question is, how exactly will they fit it? I, of course, have looked at a 5-year extension beyond 2025. It is entirely possible that they sign Brock Purdy to a deal that's longer than that. The Chiefs signed Patrick Mahomes to a 10-year deal worth $450 million, so only $45 million annually. Maybe Brock Purdy and his representation decide that the slightly longer deal is going to be the route that they want to go to. There's been 4-year quarterback deals in the recent past, but I don't think that those are working out all too great in the league. I think at the very least, you like to have 5 years of team control so you can really take advantage of the full proration. You can always add void years onto a contract to make sure that you could prorate the signing bonuses and the option bonuses as far as possible. But these void years, they come at a cost because once you hit them and a player is no longer on the team, all the money will accelerate and hit a dead money. It's just a way of stiff arming the salary cap hit into the future. If you're already going to add void years, you might as well add as much team contractual control as is possible. Now, the whole APY discussion, this is what's really key about it. I added $50 million in base salary in 2028, $50 million in 2029, and $61 million in 2030. This is all non-guaranteed. I added that so that this adds up to $165 million, so that you could add that to the guaranteed money to come out with $305 million to make it a $61 million contract. A lot of people need to understand that this is how a lot of these contracts work. Tyreek Hill got the $30 million annually, the first receiver to get $30 million annually, only because they pumped up his late years to like $43 million in non-guaranteed base salary. A lot of the quarterback contracts that we've seen have only gotten to a certain point, like $60 million for Dak Prescott, only because of a pump up in non-guaranteed base salary. I don't think there's much reason to believe that Brock Purdy's is going to be any different, and since this is simply how NFL contracts work. So this is where teams have more flexibility in the NFL, and I get that it becomes an ego match sometimes, and it takes a little while for both sides to agree how much they're going to inflate the contract, because some sanctity has to be preserved in the whole process. But it is an illustration of how teams can afford to pay somebody like Brock Purdy over $60 million a year while keeping his salary cap hit in 2025 at only $15.1 million per year. Anyway, if you have any questions, then I'm going to refer you to this. I'm going to refer you to the San Francisco Standard. This is where you're going to get the most in-depth reporting on the 49ers there is. There's no question about that. This is where you're going to find the Brock Purdy contract analysis that no other place has in this kind of detail. So the link to this is in the description. Go ahead and check that out and click on it. You can go sign up. You can go check it out. You're going to have the full rundown, everything contractually. I mean, I've got graphics. I present all of my data there, and I explain how the entire financial situation works. As a 49ers fan, if you're a 49ers fan watching this show, I think it's highly recommended that you understand how finances in the NFL work, especially with big contracts and star players, because the 49ers have given out more of them than any other team. And every year we hear the same thing. They can't give out another one because there won't be room. And we hear the same thing only because the people saying that same thing do not understand the finances of the game. They don't understand the staggered structure that the 49ers have been running with their signing and option bonuses that I propose here. So I think if you want to understand the 49ers, you need to understand how they surf the wave of the salary cap, and that will help you understand Brock Purdy, his relative value to the 49ers, because also value ends up being determined in many cases by what a team can afford. So I think you'll understand the 49ers spending limits a lot better. And I think you'll just have a greater general understanding and enjoyment of how the NFL business side works. So go ahead and go to the description, check out this article up on the San Francisco Standard. And how about we talk about the potential of the 49ers playing in Europe? It has been announced that on top of the 3 London games this year, there's going to be a Berlin game. I also think there might be a Madrid game, but that hasn't been formally linked to a team yet. Berlin, Germany, capital of Germany. The 49ers have played there before, not during the regular season. They have a chance to play there again because the Indianapolis Colts are officially hosting a game in Berlin, and the 49ers are set to visit the Colts. They have to play the Colts in a road game in 2025. The Cleveland Browns, who are also on the 49ers schedule, they're going to host a game in London. So the 49ers might also go to London, and the 49ers have a marketing deal and partnership. The NFL has this whole abroad marketing deal going on, and the 49ers have contracts in Mexico and in the UK. The 49ers also own a soccer team, Leeds United, in the UK. So I think it's entirely possible that the 49ers go to Mexico. They played the first ever NFL regular season game outside of the U.S. in Mexico in Estadio Azteca in 2005. They returned to Mexico in 2022 and blew out the Cardinals. So now they've remodeled Estadio Azteca in Mexico City. So it's possible the 49ers go back there, but it's also possible they go to London, where they have that marketing partnership to play the Cleveland Browns. And yes, it is possible that they go to Berlin. Now, in 1991, the 49ers played a preseason game in Berlin. And it was the first game held in Berlin after the complete demolition of, this is the Berlin Wall. So this means a lot to me and my family and our family's history. My mom's side is from Czechoslovakia. I'm going to unveil this, so we'll do the grand reveal. This is like a little artifact that I actually helped obtain. We could take off the lid. I'm holding a piece of the Berlin Wall in my hand, and I actually will hold it right here. I'll hold it closer. This is the little display case that we have for it. Hopefully you can read that. There it is. The Berlin Wall, which stood from 1961 to 1989, was the symbol of communist oppression, dividing Western and Eastern Europe, technically dividing Western and Eastern Berlin, West and East Berlin. But it was a urban representation, an urban version of the Iron Curtain, which was literally a border between Western Europe, which was democratic and free, and Eastern Europe, which was ruled by communist regimes. There were barbed wire fences at the border. There were dogs. There were machine guns. You couldn't cross the border. You couldn't get out of these countries. And my mom's family is from Czechoslovakia. So this right here, when I was 2 years old, as you can see, the Berlin Wall went down in 1990. Well, 1989 is when the destruction started, when the revolutions happened. When I was 2 years old, we were able to take a trip from Prague to Berlin, my first ever trip to Europe. And as a 2-year-old, I was able to help take down part of the Berlin Wall. There, we've got it in focus now. So this is a piece of history for you, the Berlin Wall, that we keep stored here. And it just so happens that the 49ers in 1991, around the time that I grabbed this piece of the Berlin Wall, I think it was probably in 1990 that I grabbed this piece, but the 49ers became the first team, and they played the Chicago Bears to play a game in the city of Berlin. It was an NFL preseason game. And they won the game. And it actually has a fairly amazing story. First, it has a trading card that goes along with it. That is the 1991 American Bowl from Berlin. But how about this Los Angeles Times article? How about this? Neither team is too happy about the 49ers win in Berlin. Chicago Bear quarterback Jim Harbaugh hopes to remember the food, the fans, and the excitement of a week in Germany. What he wants to forget is Saturday's loss to the San Francisco 49ers. Harbaugh completed 7 of 14 passes for 77 yards, and the Bears got their only touchdown on a reverse as they were defeated 21-7 by San Francisco in an exhibition game at Olympic Stadium. I had a good time here, except for tonight, Jim Harbaugh said. We just didn't do enough good things to win. So there you go. The 49ers played in Berlin. First game after the total fall of the Berlin Wall, which I'm holding in my hand. Joe Montana and Steve Young both played for the 49ers. Jerry Rice scored a touchdown pass for the 49ers. And their coach, their how do you say that? Their coach-to-be, Jim Harbaugh, was the quarterback on the other side. So I think just for poetic, full circle sake, I'd like the 49ers to play in Berlin, although that is obviously not guaranteed, and we probably won't find out for a couple more months. All right, Brock Purdy contract projection is up. So check out the San Francisco Standard. It is right here for you. I, meanwhile, will take a look at a few questions, but sign up for the Standard because that is where you're going to get that detailed contract projection. They could come to London too. That'd make Margot happy, but I think Berlin would be neat, especially since I've had a chance to show off the Berlin Wall now too. That was before NFL Europe was a thing. 1991. So NFL Europe was more of a late 90s, early 2000s thing. This is when the league was first trying to make inroads in Europe. I've done a big story on the Prague Black Panthers. That's a football team in Prague in the Czech Republic. Their coach is actually a 49ers fan from the U.S. But a lot of their players who first started playing around 1990 when the Berlin Wall came down, they were huge 49ers fans because Joe Montana was the biggest star of the game at the time. 1991, when the 49ers played in Berlin, was the year that San Francisco was going for a three-peat. They were coming off of this was the year after. They had lost the Super Bowl the year prior. Let me double check on the year of that game in Berlin. Sometimes I get my dates a little mixed up. They played August 4th, 1991. So no, this was not the year the 49ers were going for the three-peat. This was the extremely weird 1991 season. They had lost their bid at the three-peat earlier in that calendar year. So this was the season that the 49ers actually did not make it to the playoffs. Joe Montana played in Berlin, but he would not play during that 1991 regular season. He got hurt during the 1991 preseason. This is a good question. What happens when 2028 comes? Well, a couple things are going to happen when 28 comes in this Brock Purdy contract. One, the salary cap is going to be much higher. Two, you have reached the end of the color-coded section of base salary, which means it's not fully guaranteed. That means you could convert base salary in 2028 to signing bonus to basically repeat what is already happening right here. You can start the accordion structure again. You could take all but like 1.5 million of the 50 million, convert it to signing an option bonus, and stagger the cap hit out even further. So once you hit 2028, you're not tethered to the $78 million cap hit. You can keep on pushing it further. As long as you push it further in a responsible way, and it's not that hard to do it in a responsible way if the cap keeps on increasing, you can keep this contract sustainable. So yes, the 49ers can theoretically offer a longer deal right now, but the furthest they can possibly dilute things is only through 5 years per bonus, because the bonus, any given bonus, can only be prorated for up to 5 years. So you might as well just return to that project a little bit later on, because if Purdy is doing really well through 2 or 3 years, you're going to want to sign him to an extension anyway. And that extension is probably going to blow up what happens in 2028, 2029, and 2030. And you're going to give a whole new contract with a lot more team control. So it's a game the 49ers can continue playing indefinitely as long as they want to keep Purdy on the roster. All right, guys, hopefully you understand the gist of all this, but please do your reading. I put a lot of work into this, so I'd appreciate it if you went and signed up. Click on the link in the San Francisco Standard, and you will have the most in-depth contract analysis there is. Then you can watch all these other shows copy exactly what I've been saying. It happens every single year. I put out a contract analysis, everybody else copies it. Everybody else, oh, they could fit 61 million. They could do this. So be ahead of it. Go ahead and read it, and then you can spot the imposters for who they are. Everybody, thanks for watching. That is your Brock Purdy contract analysis and a look at, or projection. I'll have the analysis once the deal is actually done. That's your Brock Purdy contract projection and your look at the Berlin Wall, because the 49ers, maybe they'll play in Berlin. Who knows? We'll talk to everybody soon.